So a very good morning. Today we will be going on to a new topic, extended ER features. Like we very well saw how to draw an ER diagram, the various kinds of things which will come under that, and you are given an ER diagram. How can you construct tables from ER diagram? We did see this much. Now what we will see is some specialized features in ER diagrams which are optional. You could use so that your ER diagrams, they come in a much more standard format. Now, there are three extended features. We call them generalization, specialization, and aggregation. We will see one by one. Now, let's see first, what do you mean by specialization and generalization? Now, imagine you have an entity called person. Okay, the person, let's say he will have his passport number as the primary key. He will have a name and he can have an address. So this is my entity called person. Now, if you think about a person, he has three attributes. He can either be an employee. Imagine you're thinking about a supermarket. Imagine you're thinking about the More supermarket. Think about all the people, all the persons who have some kind of encounter with More supermarket. It can either be the employees in the supermarket, or it could be a customer who comes to the supermarket. Now, be it an employee or be it an customer, he will be having a phone number, he will be having a name, and he will be having an address. So let's say you have an employee, can either be an employee or a customer. Now, this kind of entity structure, you can denote it with a concept called inheritance. Okay, and this is how you do it. You write an inverted triangle over here, and inside that inverted triangle, you write is a. So, person, he is either an employee or he is either a customer. Now, if you think about employee, you can think about an additional attribute called department. But even when you think about customer, you need not have, you will not have an entity called an attribute called department. Instead, let's say you might have something like customer type. Like he's a privileged customer, he is a gold customer, he is a silver customer, or he is an ordinary customer, and so on. So when you think about this attribute called department, it is something which all persons do not have. Only employee will have an attribute called department. And when you think about customer type, employee need not have customer type. Employee will not have customer type. That is something which is unique for the customer. But if you think about, let's say, if you think about all the details of the employee, okay, if you think about all the details of employee will have the department he is working, he will have phone number, he will have name, he will have address. The same way, if you think about customer, he will have his unique attribute called customer type. Together with that, he will even have phone number, he will have name, and he will have address. So very simple. This entity called person, you can either call it to be the parent entity, or you even call it to be the super entity or super class entity, or you can even call it by another name, higher level entity. The same way, the entities which are formed from the person, you can call it the child entity, or You can even call it subclass entity or the lower level entity. So these are the various names in which these kind of entities can be called. Now, if you think about the attributes of the lower level entity, attributes of lower level entity is equal to all the attributes of the higher level entity plus the distinct attributes of the lower level entity. If you think about customer will have phone number, name, address plus the customer type. If you think about employee, he will have phone number, he will have name, he will have address plus the department. Now, from this, you can have again more levels. Like, you can think like this. The employee, you can either have a part-time employee or you can even have a full-time employee. This is also possible. So, you can have a next level of inheritance over here. Okay. If you think about part-time employee, he will be having phone number, he will be having name, he will be having address, he will have even department attribute, plus, let's say number of hours. Okay, rate per hour, because, that is how he is paid for the number of hours he works. Full-time employee, he will be having a designation, he will be having a basic pay, and so on. Now, the full-time employee attributes, the part-time will not have. The part-time attributes, full-time will not have. But, if you think about the part-time attributes, part-time will have phone number, he will have name, he will have address, he will even have department, he will have hours, and he will have rate. The same way, if you think about full-time will have phone number, name, address, not customer type, department, designation, and the basic pay. Now, let us see, what do you mean by the words specialization and generalization? Now, let's say, if you are doing a thinking from top to down or top to bottom, you will say it is a specialization. Like, person is specialized into employees and customers. Okay, employee is specialized into part-time, full-time. Just like, you can think about the specialization as an MCA. You have a general MCA course and then you are specializing it into either programming, information security, or knowledge engineering. Now, if you are thinking the reverse, if you are thinking this is the top-down approach, and if you are thinking in the bottom-up approach, you call it to be generalization. Like, you look over here, part-time and full-time, all those employees together, they are generalized or grouped into something called employee. Employee and customer, they are generalized under an umbrella called person. All the knowledge engineering, all the programming, and all the information security, all of them are grouped or generalized into the MCA. So that is what we mean by specialization and generalization. Specialization is the top-down approach and generalization is the bottom. See, another example of vehicles. If you think about a private vehicle, it will have a register number, year, the chassis number, the fuel type, the transmission, number of seats, whether you have an AC or not, whether you have a touch screen, whether you have plush interiors, and so on. If you think about public, it will have all the attributes of vehicle, all the attributes of four-wheeler, plus these attributes, which only the public transport will have. You call these local attributes. These are local attributes of public. These are local attributes of four-wheeler. These are local attributes of private. These are local attributes of two-wheeler, and so on. We are continuing with specialization, generalization. Now, in specialization, generalization, you do have constraints. Okay. Now, there are mainly 4 kind of constraints. You call them disjoint, overlapping, disjoint, overlapping, total, complete. Total, partial. This total and partial together, you call them completeness constraints. Okay. So these are the 4 constraints which can occur in specialization and generalization. We will see all of them one by one. Now, the first constraint we will see is disjoint. Okay. Now we'll see all of them with the help of examples. Now, let's say you are having a entity called account in a bank. You will have attributes, let's say account number, account holder name, date on which the account was started, and so on. Okay, date on which the account was started, out of which obviously account number will be the primary key. Now, you know that when you go to banks, there are many kind of accounts. Like, you have a current account, you have a saving account, you have a loan account. The privileges for all these accounts will be different. But all of them will have account number and account holder name and the date on which it was started. So, you can say, you can have a specialization where you can have the account number, let's say, the account type. It can either be a savings account or it could be a current account. Okay. The interest rate will be different. Now, savings account, you will not have an overdraft facility. Okay. Current account, you might have, some banks, they offer the loan facility and so on. So anyway, there are mainly 2 kind of accounts, savings account and a current account. Now let us see, what do you mean by a disjoint constraint? Now, a disjoint constraint means the lower level entity, the higher level entity at the same time cannot be both of the lower level entities, which means very simple. An account cannot be a savings and a current at the same time. In other terms, an account, it can either be a savings account or an account, it can be a current account. It cannot be both together. A higher level entity cannot be the lower level entities together at the same point of time. Let's think of another entity. Let's say parent. Okay. Parent can either be mother, it can either be father. Okay. This is my higher level entity. This is my lower level entity. A parent can either be a mother or a parent can either be a father. A parent cannot be mother and father at the same point of time. Because, the characteristics of mother, they will be different from that of the father. But, there will be things which are common for both also. So, this is what you mean by disjointness. A higher level entity cannot be all the lower level entities at the same point of time. It can either be any one lower level entity. And this is how you normally denote it. You write a D over here with a circle to show that It is a disjoint. It is a disjoint kind of an entity. The overlapping constraint. The overlapping constraint is just the reverse of your disjoint. Okay, you have higher level, you have lower levels. A higher level entity can be more than one lower level entity at the same point of time. Okay, let's think. Person. Person is a, let's see, he can either be an employee or he can be a customer. You can think of your more supermarket. Okay, people over there in the mall who come inside the mall supermarket, they can either be the employees or they can even be the customers. But you know, there is always a case that the employee itself is the customer. The person working in the mall supermarket, he will buy from there. The moment he buys things from there, he is a customer. So, you know, a person, he can be an employee and he can be a customer at the same point of time. So, you know, such things in a circle, you denote it with O. You write over here O and then you have it in a circle. At the same point of time, he can be more than one lower level entity. Let's think of another example. Think about celebrities. Okay. Celebrities, they can be actor, they can be even a politician. Okay, you say this is overlapping because you know you do have actor politicians, isn't it? Think about Jaya Bachchan, she's an actor, she's a politician. Think about Suresh Gopi, a person, he's an actor, he's a politician, he falls in both the categories. Okay, so such kind of attribute entity constraints, you tell them to be overlapping. Now these happen only in your specialization and generalization. Now let's see completeness constraints in specialization generalization. The first one is total. Now let's see that with the help of an example. Let's say we'll go for the same example. Account. It can either be a savings or it could be a current account. Okay, and you even know that it is a disjoint. It is disjoint. At the same time, it cannot be both savings and current together. Now, total participation means the higher level entity should belong. The higher entity should belong to any one lower level entity. The higher level entity should belong to anyone, which means, you know, if you think about the account in a bank, it should either be a savings account or a current account. Okay, let's say we'll have one more because there can even be loan accounts in a bank. If you think about an account, it should be a savings account or it should be a current account or it should be a loan account. You have no other accounts in the bank. It should either be a savings or a current or a loan account. It should be any of these. It should be any of these. And you know, if you are ensuring total participation, you will denote it with double lines over here, just like in our normal ERW total. Now this means that account will either belong to the savings category or it will belong to the current category or it will belong to the loan category. Okay, let's think about employees in a college. Okay, employee in a college. We think about employee in our college. They'll either be a teaching faculty or they could even be non-teaching faculty. Attributes will be different for both. Now, if you think about employees in the college, he should either be a teaching faculty non-teaching faculty. You don't have somebody else. Any employee, he will either be a teaching faculty or he will be a non-teaching faculty. So, it will be a total participation, and obviously it will be even a disjoint. A teaching cannot be a non-teaching cannot be a teaching. So, this is what you mean by total participation constraints in specialization, generalization. Now, let's see about partial completeness constraint in specialization, generalization. Okay. Let's think about person. Okay, person, as we earlier saw, he can either be a customer or he can be an employee. Okay, so let us think simply about a person getting inside the Lulu hypermarket. Okay, Lulu hypermarket. Now, you can either have employees working in the Lulu hypermarket, you can even have customers working in the Lulu hypermarket. But if you think about all the people who are at a particular time inside the Lulu hypermarket, you cannot correctly classify them into only these two categories, because there can be another category other than customer and employee. Like, you do have a bunch of visitors over there. People who simply come inside. They are not a customer. They are even not an employee. Okay, but very well, they are a person. The visitor, he is a person. He does have a passport number. He does have a name. He does have an address. He does have a phone number. He has everything. But he doesn't fit inside the classification called customer or employee. So such a constraint, you call it partial. When you go for the definition, if a higher level entity does not belong to any of the lower level entities, you say it is a partial participation. You have persons could be either customer, employee or visitors, but you have not taken care of them in your particular system. You tell it is a partial participation. We can again look for another example. Think about account in the banks. Okay, account, it can either be a savings account or it could be a current account. Okay, if this is my diagram, where are the loan accounts? If I have a loan account, the loan account is very well an account, but in this particular diagram, this particular ER of mine, scenario of mine, I have not taken care of the loan accounts. So, I will say this is a partial completeness, because I can have very well a loan account, but the loan account, it doesn't fit into the savings category. It even doesn't fit into the current category, but very well it is an account. So I will say it is a partial completeness of generalization, specialization. Now, let us see about a new extended feature of ER diagrams known as aggregation. We did earlier see two. We did see what is specialization. We even saw what is generalization. We even saw the various constraints. There are 4 kinds of constraints. We did see all of that. Now we will go into our third extended feature of the ER called aggregation. Now, this is actually a new feature in ER diagrams. Now, why do we have aggregations? When the degree of a relationship is more than 2, you will have an aggregation. Like normally when you draw your ER diagrams, you have it like this. Okay, you have entities, You have relationships connecting them. Okay, this is how you do have your ER diagrams. Now, when you have the degree of your relationship more than 2, like this kind of a structure, or might be this kind of a structure, you go for a better one. You go for a better concept called aggregation. Now let us see how it is being done. So imagine you are having a specific scenario like employees work in a department of a company. Okay, so you will denote it like this. You will have employee works in a department. Okay, you can have your ER diagrams. Employee works in the department of a company. So all these are related with a single relationship. Degree is greater than 2. You do have a degree which is 3. So in such a scenario, what you do is that, let me continue the story. Okay, let me continue the story. Like employee works in a department of a company, and let's say this particular employee who's working in a particular department of a company, he takes a loan. Employee takes a loan. Okay, so I will have to have too many relationships, like employee takes loan. No, I can, it will go like this. It will be, totally messy. So, for that, we can do aggregation. Now, what aggregation does is, when you have a degree greater than 2, what you will do is, this whole thing, you will be treating it as a single entity. And then, I will have my scenario notes. The employee working in a company, in a department, he takes a loan. Now, the way in which you group all these things together, you put it in an aggregate, you group it, you call this aggregation.